This is the Birthing Truth podcast where guests spill their unvarnished, honest, and naked truth. I'm,
Naked in black blues.
I'm Courtney Elaine. What's that you claiming?
The set I'm claiming right now is cocky.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm, I'm,
Ego.
I'm feeling kind of cocky because well, actually, I'll describe it. Just what set you claiming?
I'm
I,
claiming blessed.
all right, blessed. Be blessed. The reason I say I'm feeling cocky is because growing up, there was always an air around me that I felt like whatever I was doing wasn't enough or wasn't good enough or that I was like second best. And some things kind of happened over the last couple of days that reminded me of that. And then I had to get myself out of that and say, you know what? The things that you are good at, you are great, bro.
Yes, and that is enough.
That's enough. The things that you are good at, you're better than most at it. So that's enough right there.
Yeah, I can feel that. I mean, I what I'm realizing in this quarantine is, you know, in the beginning, I was like kind of shocked about everything that was happening. And I was talking to a friend today, and I realized just how blessed I am to be in the situation that I'm in. Like, still bringing in, still have an income. I've been able to get some time to rest, get my mind right. And it's just been a, for me, this is gonna sound crazy in the midst of COVID-19, but it's been a nice little vacation for me. Like, and I'm blessed to be able to have this time off and still be bringing in some money to make sure that the bills are maintained and all of that kind of stuff. So
Right. It's
blessed.
isn't it almost kind of confusing because it's like I'm literally doing nothing and I'm
Nothing.
paychecks for it
I'm
and
I'm getting paid to take naps, really, honestly, and to go
do
to with you.
yeah, pretty much do absolutely nothing. And that is a blessing to realize that. Like I've brought my work down considerably from running around. You know me, I had 3 jobs. So I was just running, and now I have that peaceful break. Where I can wake up at 9 and take a nap at 11.
Exactly. And I just realized, God made a way when I didn't think that there was one, you know,
Mm,
real. Because I was like, I don't know where the next check is coming from. I don't know, I worked so hard to gain this independence, and all of a sudden that was just gone within seconds. And I
right.
was like, what am I going to do now? And it's like, thankfully I was already, in the word and learning and being able to kind of, learn how to deal with stuff without getting too worked up and letting anxiety and worry consume me. So that really did help me. But then I just looked up and I was like, look at God.
Right. That's been 3 times during this quarantine where I've looked at my bank account and started to get a little scared and be like, oh Lord, like it's getting to that danger moment that I know how to live through. It's just I'm not used to it in the present. And so I started to get scared and start to worry. And then I take a nap, and then when I wake up, my account say something different. And I'm like, so child, maybe that's why I'm taking so many naps, so I can wake up and
So you can wake up in your account and be, I'm telling you, we're getting paid to take naps. Like, did you not hear me?
so, wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of a lifelong attempt to acquire it. That's a quote from Albert Einstein. And this brings us to our Google education degree segment, where we talk about the last thing that we Google, or as we like to say, what we got our GED in.
Oh my God. So, I'm just the queen of randomness,
Mm-hmm.
and I am always in search of finding the meaning of things. And so I randomly Googled the name Mariah. I wanted to know what it meant. Like it was just out of nowhere. I was like, what does that mean? Because in my family, knowing or my one of my aunts is big on making sure that you don't have some sort of ghettofied name that could ultimately keep you from getting this job or that job, or stop somebody from giving you an opportunity just by hearing your name. If you Bunquisha and they look at your resume and it say Bunquisha Shanae, they might just be like, you know what, let me just throw that in the trash. But if they hear something that sounds like it makes some sense or has some substance behind it, then you might have a better chance. So I just thought, like, what does Mariah mean? And I looked it up, and it is the Lord is my teacher. And in my family, on my dad's side, a lot of the people have biblical names. So I'm always very interested in biblical names and the meaning behind those names. So there you have it, Mariah.
Now, I'm not quite sure that Mariah means the Lord is my teacher.
Well, I don't know.
Mariah sound like white people seeing the name Maria and they know how to say it, and they like Mariah.
And that's what's so crazy, because when you look at the definition, it says Maria with one of them little fancy little on the end of it. And then in parentheses, it says pronounced Mariah. And so I said, it was getting interesting. And then there was another way of spelling it. You have the Mariah Carey way. And then there was another way that was more like Moriah. So it was M-O instead of the M-A. And that one was, the definition for that was like a specific place that was represented in the Bible. So I was like, yeah. And then that one, you would give that name to a male rather than a female. Yeah. Never heard of a guy being named Mariah or Moriah, but
Yeah. Mo Ryan. I guess his nickname would be Mo. What up,
oh.
Mo? You good, Mo? So, what I got my GED in is stimulus checks. There has been a lot of people saying, "Oh, you gonna have to pay that stimulus check back. Don't get excited."
Yeah.
And I've been looking it up, and even on someone's thread, they was like, "You gotta pay it back." And I went and found documentation that this does not have to be paid back.
Yeah.
And I put it on there, and this person read that and still got out of that you got to pay it back. And I'm like, this literally says the opposite of that. And so I looked that up just to make sure. And they're like, no, I think what people are getting confused is it says that it's a tax credit, an advanced tax credit from 2020. So because this happened, there's a tax credit that we should get in 2020. But instead of waiting until we do it then, they went ahead and gave it to us now. But it's not going to affect anything else. It's not, if you owe taxes, they're not going to take it out the stimulus. Like that is a tax credit on its own. And you ain't got to pay that back. I kind of read it every which way. And y'all been
Richard.
way, and everybody is thinking that they have to pay it back, and you don't. It's not even taxable. Like whenever you do your taxes next year, they're not even taxing their money.
Well, the Bible say don't argue with fools.
Right.
You want to make a fool out of yourself.
I was like, I put the documentation there, and I'm like, well, this is what this says. You know what I'm saying? It was a credible source. It was like CNN or something like that. But then, you know, people get to saying, CNN be making stuff up. And child, I ain't got time. So that's how I got my GED.
Go on, get it. Get your education on, child. Each time a language dies, another flame goes out, another sound goes silent. That is a quote by Ariel Sabar. This brings us to our Who Said That segment.
Who said
Who said that? This segment is where we figure out the origin of old school phrases in an effort to keep the golden language alive.
Right. So one of them is going from pillar to post. And
Or
apparently
pillow post.
apparently a pillar and a post are similar structures. So it means someone is going from one bad situation to another one that isn't much better. So that kind of reminds me of jumping out the skillet into the frying pan. Um, the thing with this saying, I've heard it, and I always thought that they were saying going from pillow to post, not pillar to post. So me thinking, okay, going from pillow to post, I thought that meant that they was moving around from house to house without their home, sleeping wherever they can. That's what I thought.
Yep.
But I was enlightened. That's not
But
what
I
they.
mean, to some extent, it can be that is a good reference. I mean, I feel like the pillow to post thing didn't just come out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And I'm assuming that it did originate from somebody moving about like that, not
right.
really having a place to go and just going from one place to the next, one pillow to the next pillow.
Yeah, because I was thinking from one pillow to a bedpost is what I was thinking. So like, you know, the little
Oh yeah.
bedpost. Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. They was going from there to there. Like you ain't got far, and
Oh.
yeah,
Oh.
and that you
Okay. Yeah.
and that you don't that and they don't have their own pillow or bedpost. So they going from this pillow to that bedpost. Like that's what I
So
was
they
thinking.
ain't got nowhere. They ain't got no.
They,
I mean, that's horrible English, but they ain't got nowhere.
you know, like what Beyonce said about all your stuff in the box to the left.
To the left in one little box. You ain't got that. You ain't got that far to go. Just pick the box up and keep it moving, child. get on up out of here.
Can move
Shit.
one box.
Okay. So the next one is what's good for the goose is good for the gander. In this expression, the gander is the male species of goose. The phrase is used to say that whatever is appropriate for the female is also appropriate for the male goose. Although the first instance, it seems that the comparison is only between two sexes, but today the word goose and gander are used to reference a person or a group of persons. So, and moreover, the word good is in this idiom can be used to compare something negative, it could be a negative effect as well. So, give me an example of that. What do you think it is?
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. See, originally before doing research, um, I thought that gander was like the plural version of goose, and that's like that's what they call the whole herd. So what's
Mhm.
good for this goose is good for the rest of us. That's what I originally thought. But after doing that research and seeing that, you know, at first it was like a male female situation, which actually sounds backwards to me because it should be what's good for the male goose is what's good for the female goose if we're going by our history. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. It's pretty much being like, you know, if I can have a podcast and talk about people that I don't get along with, then that person can have a podcast and talk about me too.
Yeah. For some reason, I always felt like it was anything you can do, I can do better. So,
That,
what, yeah. For whatever reason, that's what I felt in my heart. But here we are. With the truth, child.
Now that we smoke. So another one is lo and behold. Just look, observe, and see. Lo is supposedly short for look, like back in the day. So look and behold. Um, I used to think that meant that unexpectedly something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So like I used to think it was like, you know, she kept complaining that her Kool-Aid wasn't sweet, and lo and behold, she was only using 1 cup. Like, but yeah, duh, it ain't sweet because you're using 1 cup. But it's like, no, look and behold, be aware, observe it. So lo and behold means look, observe, and
And it
see.
makes so much sense when you do your research and figure out what the heck it means in the first place. Once you start hearing it over and over again, then it makes so much more sense.
Right. Another one is called red-handed.
Oh, child, I didn't even see that.
Oh, Lord.
That's my bad. Another one is being caught red-handed. This saying it originated because of a law. If someone butchered an animal that didn't belong to them, he had to be caught with the animal's blood on their hand to be convicted. So basically, being caught with freshly cut meat didn't mean that you were actually guilty. You had to be caught with the blood on your hands for you to actually be convicted.
So even though I ain't got no cow, and I done rolled up to this joint with ribeye, hamburgers, T-bone steaks, chuck roast, but I ain't never had no cow.
Never had no cow.
And your cow is missing. That all the ribeyes and stuff wasn't enough to say that I took your cow. You had to see the blood on my hand from murdering that cow to say you guilty. So
now, something like that'll have me in court mad as hell.
Right. Like she got turkeys and pigs.
Yeah, she got all the stuff that literally comes from a cow. You didn't name everything. And you mean to tell me that you're still not in trouble and you got all this meat and here I am without a cow, but you got all the meat.
Oh, you gonna run me some turkey wings?
You gonna run me something? Turkey wings don't come from the cow.
No. If you got pigs and turkeys, but then you got all this ribeye and stuff, and they telling me that they can't find you guilty. Oh, we're going to your house. You about to run me?
Oh yeah. You about to ass it up. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You about to give me something. You about to pay in some way, shape, or form. So go on, give me the turkey neck so I can make these good old collard greens.
Right. That's what's up, and that's who said that.
Who said that?
I guess today we'd like everybody to know that he's been in 4 plays, 4 movies. He's a well-known spoken word artist and a published author.
We would like to welcome Yolan Young, also known as Yolan, a poet. Welcome to the Breaking News Podcast.
Hey, everybody, what's going on?
Nothing much. So we'd like for you to claim your set.
My set is I'm guiltfully happy.
All right. Can you explain that just a little bit? Give us a little bit more insight on that.
I say I'm guiltfully happy because my mom just recently passed away a couple weeks ago. With Mother's Day being passed and under being a month, I'm still dealing with it. Still processing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I wasn't able to go to the funeral during the time of the COVID-19 and my condition. They wouldn't let me travel back home to California. So I think I'm the first generation of cats that have to see funerals and wakes over virtual.
I can only imagine that. We'll have to dive into that a little bit during our Spill the Truth segment because that is definitely a life-changing moment, and to have to experience it the way that you had to due to COVID-19, that's definitely something to talk about. We can get some little insight on that. But we're going to go ahead and go into our truism segment. A wise man speaks because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. That is a quote from Plato. This is our truism segment where we discuss things that affect our community.
Right. So I like that quote actually. Today's truism asks, if your partner is mad at someone, are you supposed to be mad at them as well? And I think it's very interesting to talk about this with the three of us, because we have a married man, an engaged woman, an old single player from the Himalaya. Yeah, so let's go and jump into that.
That's good. That's a good topic. Oh wow.
Let's jump into that. Courtney, if Devon is mad at someone, where are you sitting with that?
I'm on the side of the truth, which is probably gonna piss Devon off, because I'm always the one that can kind of see. I like to see things from both sides, and from there, like, okay, let's form a conclusion based off of that, off of the truth, not on your feelings, but off of the truth, and let's go from there. Because a lot of times when you're mad, you're instantly thinking just off of the anger, and so I just do not like to be in that predicament. I want him to be able to see both sides. Now, if he like, I'm not effing with this person, that's a different story. I feel like you can not F with somebody and be cordial. So I'll be in a place where we at a basketball game and you ain't messing with this person, but the person walks past me and says hello. I'm gonna say my hello, but you ain't gonna see me doing no kiki with the person. But I'm gonna be respectful enough to at least say hi. I'm not gonna be rude. So again, I feel like that is a stance that will probably make him upset if he's not thinking about who he's in with. If he think about who his woman is at the core, he wouldn't be mad. But if he in his feelings at the moment, he more than likely gonna be pissed off.
Right. So Yolan, what about Ashley? How does this
Ashley? I'm laughing because that is an actual experience. There is nothing I can say that's not going to be the truth right about now. So if you got friends, you have a friend that becomes extended family, right? But then your spouse has an issue with that person or feel like they have another agenda, like Courtney was saying, if it's like F that person, if I see that person is on site, and you got to go with the home team. And I'd rather have a tornado outside than a tornado inside. So I'm going to always ride for mine first. That's just how we are. But if I see you outside, we at an event or something like that, I can still be cordial. If you say hello, I'm going to say hello back. And I know that was even a balance at one time to say, hey, babe, listen, this ain't going to be okay, they walk right by me and I walk right by them like we ain't never seen each other for years. There's no way that's impossible. But I promise we got to compromise. I will not engage in conversation if that's not what you want. If you don't want me to talk to the individual no more, you don't want me to be on the phone, we can't hang out in this, I understand. I'm on home team. But if we out and about, understand if we crash it will be a polite scene instead of chaos.
Right, I feel that. I know Devon is kind of ride or die like that. And he just like, the moment you be like, I'm not messing with this person, he like, bet. That's all you got to say. And he gonna ride with that. my whole thing is like when you friends with somebody, you know, Vincent might piss me off today, and tomorrow we'll be on the phone for 8 hours. You know, so it's like if you still in that state of mind where you're still mad, then you like, why are you talking to him? So it's like your spouse has to be able to understand the dynamics of the relationship of the person that you know, mad at, and be able to roll with the flow. They can't still be mad. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, because everybody season changes with how long they hold on to a woman. You know, mine is a little bit quicker because of the lifestyle how I grew up. You know, what I consider is really, really necessary. What I consider like, okay, I gotta attack it and end it now. Some people's seasons may last longer, and then you got tricky. You know, so you gotta really communicate and get to know each other on a bigger level and understand, is this situation that dire or can we surpass it? You know, sometimes you gotta give people time. Everybody's not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think like as a single man, it kind of depends on how much I like you, you know, because I can be ride or die, and if you don't like them and I don't really know them, I mean, I can shade them all day long for you. You know what I'm saying? If I don't really like you like that, then you know, I just be like, I ain't gonna say nothing in it. But you know, when we get away, I be like, yo, you know that's wrong. You kind of tripping, you know, for no reason. But that's gonna be a private conversation, and not, you know, I ain't gonna be all buddy with the person because I know how that can hurt feelings.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
Well, you gotta think about this when you're in a relationship. Sometimes certain relationships is maybe building to marriage or being together forever. So if you know this person who just went and this ain't going to commit, this is a whole different ball game, Jeff.
I'm not gonna be with anybody forever.
Well, hey, remember he said that. Remember he said that. I'm gonna bring it up 2020. It's gonna be Rona. Ain't gonna be hard to forget.
Okay, we need to stop that mess, man. Shoot.
Because soon as you say, this is my forever, I'll be like, Rona, 2020.
Roll the tapes back. Roll them back.
Like on Jenny Jones. You gonna have somebody.
So y'all, on the opposite side of that thing though, if you're mad at somebody and your partner is too buddy with them, do you say something at the moment, or do you wait till you go home, or you know, do you give them a little nudge like, excuse me, you know?
Yeah, it just depends on the person, you know, like really, like, is it to that point I'm with this individual where I'm ready to throw hands, or is it this point, you know, because that's where it can go for me. But I believe a lot of times, again, like we're talking personal now, a lot of times before we even go, we know it's an event, we know that person's gonna be there. Hey, listen, I don't really function with this individual, so I don't need you talking to the individual because I'm not there yet. Most of the time, that individual already know me, so they know not to come around that boundary. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty something that's already probably been discussed. You know, because me and Ashley have mutual friends. You know, and then with those mutual friends, sometimes, you know, when she said, "Hey, you know, I don't function with this individual," but babe, nah, I don't function with this individual. Okay, all right, you know what I mean? But keep that out there and bring that in here, because I'd rather them be mad out there than I can't sleep and cuddle because you mad because I had a dialogue with the individual, you know, and the same for her, you know, I'll be mad too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What about once they make up with the person, then how do you feel? Are you still in your feelings about what they did to them, or can you easily get over it too?
What's the good one? Like, let's say if it was an incident that happened prior to me and her being together, right? But I'm affected by what happened because before you tell me, she might be crying. But she's like, it's in the past, it's blood. to me, it's new because I'm getting new information. So I'm gonna feel like, nah, I'm not feeling it. But again, that goes back with the marriage and the compromise. Because remember, this is a marriage instead of just a relationship. So it's still hard. I gotta kind of like swallow that if you decide, look, we good now. Me and this individual is good. That was something I'm just being transparent with you with. But now at this moment, we good. I have to accept that because that was your friend before we got together. That's your past. So I gotta accept that. No matter how much it might hurt me, I still have to accept that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that you end up being in a situation where you just have to have baby steps.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I can't help the fact that I'm in my feelings about this. So I'm gonna respect the fact that you want to move on. You respect the fact that it's gonna take me a couple of minutes or some time to get over what it is I'm feeling. But at the same time, I'm gonna make sure that when we're around this person, I'm respectful.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think I do this with friendships too, though. I don't still throw shade. Like I call it like residue shade. The situation over with, and I know that you did something. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be cool with you. But every now and then I might throw a shot. You know what I'm saying, at you. Courtney, you know what I'm talking about? Cool to Brown.
That's that Virgo in you, man. Because be honest, y'all. Be honest. A lot of times, especially with Virgos, you really like if the relationship is over, whether it's a relationship or a friendship. Once you say we done, I'm done. I don't need you no more than you said you needed me. So if you want to come back, my question is gonna be like, why? That seems like an ex. Why? Especially if you've been time that went by. Oh, can you forget what happened 3 years ago? Hey, do you know what happened in 3 years since then? No, we good. We good.
No, both of y'all Virgos?
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah.
I like Virgos. Good with Virgos.
Well, Virgos are wonderful people,
I mean, what can you say?
All the geniuses in the
Here
the
you
best of Virgo. Michael Jackson, Beyonce, me, the great. Yolan, Ashley.
go.
That's the truth.
They love us and hate the lovers. That's what it is.
That's the truth. So we have entered the Spill the Truth segment of our podcast. A quote that I read somewhere, but I don't know who said it exactly. Says, some of us think that holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it's letting go.
I like that.
Mm.
All right, before we get into this segment, you have to take an oath of truth. So y'all learn, I'm gonna need you to repeat after me. I like that. If my truth offends the people that I love,
If my truth offends the people that I love,
I promise to spill the whole truth,
I promise to spill the whole truth,
the bucktooth truth,
the buck-tooth truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth.
Because that's how it showed up in my life.
Because that's how it showed up in my life.
All right, brother.
Yeah, we know about that bucktooth truth. Tell me the bucktooth truth. Don't give me that.
Oh, y'all fool.
Because people try to keep it so cute, and that cutesy truth that don't work out very well because it's just covered. It's like covering up shit. Trying you funky and you spray all this Febreze stuff in the air and just making it just stank even more. Like don't nobody want that.
Somebody say, "Am I funky?" Nah, just a little bit.
You smell like Febreze and ass. So Yolan, we asked you to tell us 3 words that describe your past.
Wow. Hardship, struggle.
No, brother, we know the 3 words now.
Oh.
He ready.
Tell me something.
The 3
I'm about to
words.
go in.
The 3 words that you gave us. See, we about to shock you because you don't even remember what you told us.
Oh, no. Absolutely no. Bro.
He's gonna get a revelation up in here because we about to tell him what he told us. Your 3 words were gangbanger, which is a member of a violent street gang. Athlete, which is a person trained or gifted in exercise or contest involving physical agility, stamina, or strength. A participant in sports, exercise, or game required physical skill. You also said that you were resilient, which is the ability to recover readily from illness, depression, adversity, or the like. Basically, buoyancy. So, with that being said, what led you to become a gangbanger?
It was almost like I don't want to say it in a sense of it wasn't no choice, but it was in my home. That's where I first saw it. You know, I'm born in 1978, Southern California, San Diego. So when I walked out in the street, what I saw in the street was in my home. You know what I mean? The first time I even saw a rag is when I saw my older brother creasing it on the iron board. I was like 4 or 5. You know what I mean? The first time I was in handcuffs, I was 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? Seeing needles and shootouts and what we call the ghetto bird, the helicopter, and the police and bodies, that was an everyday thing. This is the truth. A lot of cats that's my age is, you know, in their 40s that actually came from this environment. Every last one of them was a product of it. You know, whether you was a Blood or a Crip or you was in one of the Latin gangs. So what led me in it was sometimes trying to avoid it, but I couldn't avoid it because I had family on both sides. I had family from the Rolling 30s. I had families from Skyline. I had family from Lincoln. I had family from 5-9. So I can name all the lists. And when my family moved from Louisiana, the first place they moved was Canada. So I was definitely born in this genre not knowing that it was a bad thing because you're a kid. It wasn't until you start seeing what's inflicted and going to the other side that you start seeing, oh, what's supposed to be an enemy, what's not an enemy, what you can wear, where you can go, what blocks you can go to, what blocks you can't go to. So still, even in that, I knew as I got older, probably around after the Rodney King riots, when we had, I'll say, the first peace treaty. Because I had, like, again, I went to school with Bluez. I went to school with Chris. And a lot of us, we became friends through sport. But a lot of family that I had, we became enemies because the color of the tribe they so-called, you know, that divided us. So as I got older, it wasn't that I didn't know that, man, this is wrong, because at the same time, in high school, I say about 9th grade, 10th grade, I'm still a 3.0 student, right? But I was blessed with a lot of mentors, a lot of coaches, you know, the barbershops, you know, the brothers and stuff like that, that was actually trying to pull me away, and some of the gang task force officers that was like, look, man, you too smart for this. That's why I tell a lot of people, a lot of these cats that gangbang is some of the most brilliant brothers and sisters you ever meet in your life. But it's surviving. We have to survive. So I could never get mad at them for putting on what they had to put on in that environment. What I fight for now is why y'all putting on, you ain't got to put on because your environment's not like that.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? So that's what changed. It took me to move to Houston to actually to get out the box and see what was going on in the box.
I was doing a little research because you know, I grew up. My mom didn't allow that kind of activity for us to get into any of that, and you know, we lived in Acres Homes, which has a bad name, but it's not as bad as the name, you know. But yeah, inside my mama's house, it's like we lived in River Oaks, you know. She was like, inside here, we don't do none of that. So I had looked up, well, where did gangs come from in the first place? And it said that the people who started the gangs wanted to start them to protect black people from white people.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so in my head, I'm like, where did they go wrong?
This is where I can tell you where from listening to the OGs, listening to some of my older family members that actually experienced it, we went wrong once gunplay started happening. Once the government started flowing in that cocaine, that's what I saw. The needles and all. That's when I saw it really get more prevalent and violent. This is the early '80s, right? So you start seeing a lot of families get separated. You start seeing a lot of kids get taken from families, and then because of the currency and what was made from that rock, brothers was killing brothers every day. Crips was killing Crips. Bloods was killing Bloods. So you saw what's looking like? You saw the impact of what the Panthers were doing. We know the story. We know the history, right? We read history on both sides, east and the coast. Ronald Pat, Huey Newton. When you see these people that y'all supposed to have been keeping suppressed for 400 years, and then you say we're gonna give you your freedom, and then you got the Reconstruction period, we was doing good. Black Wall Street, we was doing all that. So everything we had invested, our currency was coming in. The powers that be didn't like it. Then you got jealousy among each other anyway. So now it's divide and conquer. But when it came to that drug, from what I remember, when it said no, what was the slogan? Dare to say no to drugs. That, like I see more violence behind that, incorporated with what was going on with the gangbang. We were supposed to protect the communities from police brutality, injustice, and the white folks and the other powers that be. It was working too good.
Right. So how did you beat the odds of becoming another statistic from the hood and becoming a productive member of society?
Man, it was I really have to believe it was the seed that was planted while I was doing my whole school time. Even having, I've talked about it, is open. My mom, she has to come to the glass pipe. That goes back to me saying when I was 8 years old and I was handcuffed, it's because CPS bumped in with the news cameras and the police, and they was taking away. And I remember the cops trying to take it from my siblings and socked him. So, they put me in the back. So I went through years of mid-'80s and the '90s of watching my mom succumb to this addiction while still remembering this beautiful nurse, the one that made my peanut butter cookies, the whole nine of having the urban utopia. So I was able to see that by having that, I had no idea that there was individuals my stepfather knew that was like my teachers, my coaches, and they was actually pouring into me because they knew who my father was. So when I was winning all these gold pyramid scholars and I was winning all these athletic awards, while at the same time I still had to go back to the turf. But it was still in my mind. One of the things about a historian, the people that just naturally like history, things constantly that stay in your mind. You keep it. So about the age of 21, it was like two things I knew what was gonna happen because I was dead. I'm either going to jail for the rest of my life or I'm about to be planted 6 feet deep. I got tired of seeing all the homies being murdered. I got tired of seeing the homies being murdered by cops for no reason. I was tired, man. So I was like, I got to get a change. So out of the blue, uncle from Mo City, I ain't talked to him about 10 years. He calls me, and I'm telling my homeboy just got smoked right in front of me. Right? So there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. So out of blue, he calls me, and I'm telling him what's going on, crying because he used to be an ex-Panther, played the Phillies too. And he goes, well, nephew, I need you to read Matthew such and such, and Luke such and such, and John such and such. And I'm like, nigga, are you serious? Hear what I'm telling you? I'm off. Again, he goes, then read this and this and this. I go back home. My dad's an advocate into the church, my stepfather. I call my father, that's the only man I know. I say, Pops, can I see your Bible? And you look at me kind of crazy. He got 4 sons, right? So he give it to me, and I go to it, and I'm reading these scriptures, and it was like almost everything it was saying at that time was happening to me, what you do in the dark, come on the light, da-da-da-da. So I said, man, if you real, I'll give up all this game banging, I'll stop drug dealing, I'll stop everything if you really real, right? Went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and was like Ice Cube today was a good day. So normally when you see that, I'm like, oh, this must be the damn of be pop. So I just decided at the time, I called my uncle back, and I was like, okay, I'll come up here for a couple weeks to Houston. Been out here ever since.
Wow. Wow.
Been out here ever since.
That
Got
is
my degree. Mhm.
that is wow. Like, okay. So let me do a little quick recap because I was wondering what your childhood was like. So you had your mom in the household with you and a stepdad. Is that correct?
Yeah. My stepdad Theodore dude married my mom's. I never knew my real father, and all that jazz. So the same street that I grew up on is the same street my dad at to this day. So before they separated because of the addiction, that's all I knew. Of course, like, and then after they transferred us into what you call, like, I call it the little mini prisons, the foster cares. We was in there for a couple of weeks. Then my grandma, remember I told you my family moved from Louisiana, like late 70s, 60s, whatever. We was living with her. Now, when living with her, pretty much from second grade all the way up to, the end of middle school. I was in a blood neighborhood all that whole time. Now, my family, my grandma and them, remember, they from Louisiana, Gibson, by the way, Grandma. So it wasn't about no Bloods and Crips in that household. It was like, you come over here, you getting shot. We just don't play that. You know what I mean? So we was a family that was still doing chitlins, gassing, and everybody come out to the cookout. But it was a nice suburban neighborhood versus where I stayed, where my mom and dad stayed in the coast. It was a lot more projects. It was a lot more poverty. This one, like, consider what I mean, like Acres Home and Mo City, or Acres Home and Clear Lake. You get what I'm saying? It was that traction. It was black folks actually doing real well. At the same time, their kids were still gangbanging.
Wow. All right. So you went from home from foster care to your grandmother's house, and then you grew up from there. You were in Louisiana when you spoke to your uncle, or were you in LA?
I was in San Diego. I'm from San Diego. So I was in San Diego when my uncle called me. My family, like, again, they're from Houston. I was born and raised in San Diego. Yeah.
Okay. So with all of what you went through as a child, one of the things that we did not say in the beginning is that you are a father, and you are a father of two daughters. And there, according to an article on the Institute for Family Studies website, dads can raise their daughter's chances of achieving success in college, careers, and romantic relationships. How did becoming a father of two daughters impact the man that you've become?
It stopped me from jumping around. It stopped me from hearing everything that said I like you, you know what I mean, or that was fine, or just threw their panties at me. I'm being real honest because I remember me and my ex-wife, one thing we did decide, mind you, one of the things I was saying, like, I saw so many brothers and sisters going to college out here. I had never been around historical black colleges in Cali. So she was already college educated, 2 degrees down. So it made me go back to school. I became a pathologist, right? So I knew in my heart that I did not want my kids to grow up the way I did in no form of fashion. So as they were just younger, I was reading to them in the belly. I was reading to them and educating them. And as they got older, it was just at this point, like, you guys have no excuse, no distractions. So they came up that way from as toddlers. But it was in ABC Academy, Christian Academy. They did this thing called Donuts with Dads. And then we all sitting there, we think we just eating with our babies and all that, So the principal comes in, who also has to be the pastor. And the first question he asked was, would you want somebody to date your daughter just like you? Would you want somebody like you to date your daughter? Wow. Every brother in there was like, it got quiet. Because we remember who we was. So he went in deeper in detail with it. And I remember that was one of the key points, like, you know what, I really got to change myself because I can't be a hypocrite. I can't change my past, but I sure can change my future.
Right, right. I like that. That's a
Right.
great impact to have on your daughters too, because my dad had 2 daughters, and yeah, y'all definitely play a huge role in our lives for sure.
You have to, just think about it too. There's one thing I noticed too. When your parent, whether it's poverty or educated or wealthy, when they're in that child's life, I remember as a child, that was one of the things I wanted. I saw the parents when they would give the trophies, and I wanted to be there with it. You know what I mean? Why my dad can't make it, why my family ain't showing up, and all that. So that was another thing. Make sure you're really involved in your child's life. It makes you go a long way.
Yeah, it does.
So
Yeah,
see,
I think my phone's about to die, so I'm charging it up.
all right,
Okay. Cool.
cool. So even though Yolan is a pretty lively brother, one thing that we do know is that some health issues kind of plagued your situation, plagued your life. How old were you when you noticed that your health was deteriorating, and what specifically happened that led you to needing a heart transplant?
I was 35 when I had a massive heart attack.
Mm.
Oh
Didn't have
wow.
no other health issues, with asthmatic. Wow, I think it's charged. It's not charged. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, it's charged. Trying to charge this phone up. Forgive me, y'all. Yeah, I was 35. Worked out twice a day. Hold on, y'all. Forgive me.
It's okay.
We doing the charge up right now.
That's what's up. Going.
You're back? Okay. Yeah, like I was saying, I was doing 2 days, working about 12-hour shift, and I think I was for at the time, Netflix, I can't remember, one of them. And then, of course, being on a poetry scene, being an activist in the street, had no idea that I had cardiorrhythmia, an enlarged heart, right? So one night, me and Ashley just sitting, doing what we normally do, chilling, and went to bed and felt like it was like a bowling ball was on my chest. So naturally, I'm in the medical. I'm analyzing. Okay, maybe it was the wings I ate, but then it got heartburn got worse and worse. I'm gonna take a shower, is laying down. My wife at the time, she actually goes, babe, maybe we should go to the hospital. You know how we are. I'm like, nah, it'll be all right. About 2:00 in the morning, you guys felt like it was an elephant on my chest. So I was like, okay, let's go ahead and go to urgent care. So I'm trying to put on my shorts. I couldn't even lift my arms. I couldn't, actually literally had to carry me downstairs. We rushed to the emergency care because I passed out. Actually pull up on the curb, pull me in there, and they doing the x-rays. They doing my blood. They start pumping me with morphine. They come back. They say, man, you having back-to-back heart attack. My blood pressure was 2015 on 197. They immediately rushed me down. Yeah.
Oh,
They
God.
rushed me down to in the ambulance in the medical center. They was like, you need an emergency stent. So they put the stent in, you know what I mean? They say I flatlined twice, so apparently they say I died twice. Right? By the time I wake up, that's when they tell me, it's like, man, your heart is supposed to be at 60%. Your heart is at 12%. We don't even know how you make it. Right? So that's how it ended up happening. So 3 months, I was in the hospital for a month and a half. They told me I couldn't work no more. They put the life vest on me. I'm arguing my way. I'm going back to work. I love what I do, right? So I go back to work, and I remember I was drawing a patient. I was doing something with a patient, passed out, woke up again back in the hospital. So that's when they came back and was like, we're going to do the ICD, which is the defibrillator/pacemaker. So they put that in. After they put that in, everything was pretty much going well. I go get my checkup. Blood pressure, pretty normal, 120/80. So we excited, we high-fiving, but the doctor comes back and says, you need a heart transplant. So I've been on the heart transplant list ever since then. But what they got me on is called phase 3 medicine management. So I'm taking about 14, 18 pills in a 24-hour period just to keep the heart going, to try to alleviate the process of getting a heart transplant, or what they call an LVAD, the artificial heart. I'm not doing.
Wow.
Yeah, Courtney, you remember when we did that Survivor show for Tony Hickman?
Yes.
I had the heart attack prior. I mean, before we did that show, because I know I had hypertension, right? So they was like, look, no more lifting, no more heavy working out and all that. Okay, cool. But I didn't really eat bad. But it was still me working out and the internal stress. This goes back to being young and all the PTSD, not knowing about all that, or a certain depression. Maybe I'm not roaring as loud as I am, but now it's internal. So they told me, they was like, we can't find nothing that doesn't run in your family. We don't know how you got this. Your blood work is great. You know, this. So when it came down to it, once they started asking me all these different questions, it was like, oh, you've been divorced, you lost your house, this has happened. Oh, you internalize, you stress them. You gotta stop stressing. So that's what it was. So wow. The roars, you know, I'm impacted by the community. I'm impacted by us. And when one of us die, it feels like I'm dying. You know, when you out there trying to save us, yeah. So that stress, I had to learn what they teach. It's like, look, you got to learn how to crawl now. You can't sprint no more. Now, how do you tell somebody that's been sprinting their whole life, you know, to start walking? That's almost incredible. That's like telling somebody that speaks, stop talking.
That's you. One thing that you said was depression. So my question is, how did you deal with the depression that you began to experience? You said that you kind of dealt with it prior to the heart attack. How did you deal with it after the fact? Once you went through that process, the medical issues, and then you were being placed on the heart transplant list, how did you go about dealing with depression after that?
I'm still dealing with it. I'm still dealing with it because, you know, then you go from, okay, learn how to walk, not run. You can't work out. Now you can't work. The job that, you know, your profession that I've been doing for 17 years, you know, okay, now you can't do this. Okay, make sure you can't lift 25. Okay, don't go walk this far. You know, okay, don't sit down too long. You're getting all this, and then I've never been the one to have the, oh, you're gonna be okay, the sympathy, right? I was that was something that was becoming a norm for me because we was brought up, don't complain. So if I ever got sick or at the flu or something, I'll just go in my cave and, you know what I mean, be by myself until I rejuvenate. But now I'm married. So now I got this woman in my face, are you okay? Do you need anything? Are you okay? Do you need anything? Are you okay? Do you need anything? So now I'm running back, man. Just leave me alone. Why are you even here?
Oh.
Because we was active. We go on vacations together. I mean, we do practically almost everything. That's my best friend. So we go everywhere together. So now she has to change her lifestyle just because I'm sick, right? So watching her sit up, play video games, even she don't play video games, lay on this couch, go home, make sure I'm taking my pills, you know, becoming pretty much a home care nurse at the same time. We had just gotten married, right? So I would see her and I would just lash out like, why don't you just go somewhere? Why don't you go be with your friends? I couldn't write. That's all I'm a writer by nature. So my pen I couldn't pick up. That was depressing. Everything that I thought about was hatred, because why is this happening to me and not this brother that I know that's 300-something pounds? I see double cheeseburgers every day. You know, right. I done escaped this. I done survived this. I done survived gunshots. I done survived, you know, gang, the violence. You know, all of this it still impacts. So it took me to go to a therapist because, you know, that's one thing they give you. Because naturally, if you're going through something that's dramatic in your life, you can't just go through this without an open. So I ended up going to the psychiatrist, and she told me, she was like, your problem is this, and this was the problem. You don't look like your diagnosis. So when everybody was seeing me, it's like, you look good. The doctor's like, you look well, man. It was at a point that was like, man, are you taking steroids and all this? I'm not doing that because I don't look like what my congestive heart failure, acute heart failure would have said. So I'm still out there trying to do stuff. At one point, it was like, to prove I can. It could have been pride, but at the end of the day, he told me, he said, until you learn to stop to have to start to be selfish for your health, you're gonna continue to experience this. So she taught me meditations, burn the candle, listen to certain music, calming your mind, letting go of negative influences. Some be friends, somebody family. You know, just learn how to redirect your mind. And it took me almost 3-4 years to get to the point where I'm at right now.
Wow.
So, I was wondering about the amount of time that somebody's usually on the list to get a transplant, and how long have you been waiting?
5 years. 5 years, but that was the plan because without it, 5 years I won't be here like I am today. So that's another victory. Yeah, they told me without that transplant in 5 years, you're probably gonna be either on dialysis or you're not gonna be here. You're not gonna be able to turn. So I beat that out because they was pushing the artificial heart, and I was like, I don't want this LVAD, which is a pump, a battery on the side of you, a tube that come out your stomach, they go into your chest. I know that I still like to swim. That's one of my meditation activities too. And I do too. So I was like, nah. So, and it got me. This is where it got me. It was like, well, if you hear a beep, 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 that means you need to charge your battery. What? Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good. Let me go natural. Let me go natural. The progress started happening. Certain things, like I said, they thought would never happen. Instead of my heart being at 12%, we're now between like 22, 23. Still low. So we seeing that certain medicine is working. So they constantly changing different doses or different medication. But I have my good days and bad days. That's the thing. So if y'all see me out and about or in the bed, that's a good day. But they don't know that I might be going home and be in the bed for like 3 days.
Right.
Dropping, or might have to go to the hospital for observation for a couple days. So that's still part of my life, but I'd rather do the medicine part while eating, my diet, because it's a whole different diet that comes with it too. You can have a lot of sodium, you can have certain much liquids and everything. And I just know I've always been coachable. Evis, I'm coachable. So if you do this, and this, this is gonna work. Well, I'm gonna do this, and this, because it don't hurt to try. So while some people that's been on there shorter than I am, it's because a lot of them they still eat the greasy food, still do a lot of certain things. This isn't coming from my doctor. So a lot of the medications that they give you, okay, we're giving you this cholesterol pill because we know you still gonna eat and still drink this for it.
Yeah.
And the biggest diagnosis, you're African American, right? That was the diagnosis. I'm diagnosed as African American. So just trying to and just enjoying life. When I got diagnosed with this, when the family was in the hospital, I remember laughing a little bit while I was crying. So, my wife was like, babe, what's so funny? And I was like, this whole time I just knew I was gonna catch a bullet. And I lived my life that long where, so for me to go out like this, it was kind of like that, like, wow, okay, so now I'm about to make the best of my life like I can possibly do. Because God has pretty much shown me everything. So continue to be a good father, continue to be an advocate, continue to be a great husband, continue to walk in peace and love. And if I got a boogie, like that old thing, the Asian proverb saying that, be the man that can know how to tend a garden at the same time know how to hold a sword when it comes to it.
I like that. I like that.
So you gotta have balance, and that's where my life is just complete balance.
I love that. So you've contributed spoken word, poetry, acting, or in acting as forms of art forms that have helped you get through the traumas in your life, how were you introduced to these things?
I was introduced to poetry. I always read poetry as a youth, whether it was hip hop or Langston, Robert, the list goes on. Dr. Seuss, reading Rainbow, to be honest, But I didn't get real with it until I say it was 2008 after, my first divorce. So it was a poet out here who took my first book, I was just playing with, a bunch of poems. You know how we have stacks of poems, like, oh, one day I'm gonna do a book, So I gave it to him, and he had it for about 3 months. He comes back, he goes, man, you ever thought about spoken word? And I was like, what's that? This is like, again, I was like, what's that? I've never known poetry like that, or even thought about getting on the mic. He was like, man, you might want to come and read, it's this, and this. And he broke it down what the drama meant and just taking your words and amorisms. So I did it. And it was this place called Shadow Bar. And I went down there and I did this one piece I can't even remember. And the crowd was like, right? And this is me speaking some truth. I was like, okay, cool. So I started getting invited to spit more. And I started going, not to even spit, but just to watch these spoken word artists. And that was like, whoa, look at all these people spitting their teeth. So whether it was funny or about a breakup, and I was just loving all that, So I was just going to different spots. I started writing more. But what I was writing, it never was for the applause and the claps. It was to help me release what I was going through. At that time, as we went on, it started coming to a point that, wow, people started coming up to me like, man, I was going through the same thing, or, man, I'm glad you had the voice to say it, you can't say it. That's when I started doing it a whole lot more, because the activism in me, I can't roar no more. I can't be on the front line no more because of my condition. So the elders was like, you still got a voice. Right. So that's what I started doing. So majority of my poems, or when I do spoken word, it is a lot about what's going on in America from past and present, or in the world. And it just so happened that people enjoy it. So, it brought me into the plays. And that was another thing. I was like, I ain't never said. The first time I heard thespian was like 2013. I didn't know what that was. I was like, that's something. Yeah, I swear. The dude come up, he was like, how did he get the role? I'm a thespian. And I was like, man, I got homies that's lesbians, but I ain't never heard thespian, So I'm just being honest with y'all, right? So it did, it went from doing color films, some, local plays, the Scarlet Letter, and then the movies came, right? Start getting, and that's when, of course, the beautiful Black Bluez and Courtney Elaine, coachable. Okay, if you believe in me, okay, I can do it. And that's how that started. So it was really y'all that got me into the rest of the film and the future films that's coming.
I actually believe, like, of a lot of the actors that I have coached in the movies and plays and stuff like that, even though you say you didn't really have that experience, you actually treated it with such professionalism. I tell you, hey, I like it. I think it should sound like this. And you can instantly say, okay, and boom, and you're there. And that's how a real professional actor handles things. A lot of local actors be like, well, I'm going to practice it at home and I'm going to come back next time and I'm going to do it. But you were always like, oh, what did you say? How you want it? Okay, boom.
Right. The fact that he said coach is like huge, because a lot of people say that they're actors, but they despise being coached. You know what I mean? And it's like you're saying coachable over and over and over again. That means you're open to the criticism, you're ready, you're hungry for it. And that's what sets you apart from the people that we've worked with in previous.
When you get if you taking care of somebody's baby, I always say that if you give me or think I'm loyal enough or responsible enough to take care of your baby, I'm gonna treat your baby like it's my baby. You know what I mean? And that's how I view it. You know what I mean? This as an athlete, you know, you want to make sure it's perfect just so you can win the game too. So it's just all you get. It's a combination of the things. You believe in me enough. Well, if you believe in enough, I believe in myself enough. And let's go ahead and get it. Let's see where we can go with it.
I remember specifically a scene that your wife had to do with the lead in the movie, and I remember her feeling kind of uncomfortable about having to do that scene. And she's a wonderful actress too, who can just flip, you know. But it was like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, and I remember you saying, you know what, do your thing. I think you left. You was like, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, I didn't show up.
I'm talking about even during rehearsal. You was like,
oh, yeah.
I'm gonna leave and let you do your thing. And then you were like, when it was time to shoot, you was like, okay, I'm just not gonna be there. I'm not gonna be there. And it's not a lot of people, even professional actors these days, that can take that away and say, look, what's best for the film is that you do this good. And
right.
if my presence is getting in the way, let me remove myself.
Right.
Y'all want to know what's funny though? Like, I got a movie coming up where it's gonna be like a sex scene or whatever, and she already seems like, I'm gonna be there. I'm like, hold on, man. Let's go. What if it made me that? I'm right there. You know? Okay, we'll see when that happens. But here's the other, my first acting, us being together was my wife when we did Color Girls, right? And you know in that scene where it's the rape scene,
Mm-hmm.
I had to rape my wife in front of my mother and father-in-law.
Oh wow.
Full stage, halfway butt naked. Now that wasn't on the scene. We did another scene where we had to make a make love scene, right? Right. So I'm all in my head like, okay, but the rape scene was what got me because while I'm trying to rape her and I'm on top of her, it's a 30 seconds. So she goes from get off me, get off, babe. And I'm in her ear like, babe, you gotta keep screaming. You can't sound like this now. This supposed to be a red scene, babe.
That's crazy. So, Yolan, what do you stand for, or what's your golden rule?
Oh wow. To be honest, there's so many, but the one that I say I can actually stand on is iron sharpens iron no matter what age, and listen to your elders. That's my golden rule. Because if it wasn't for my elders, the big homies, whatever, I probably wouldn't be the man that I am today too. That's a big part. So
Wow.
iron sharpens iron no matter what age. Listen to your elders.
That's wisdom. So, at what moment in your childhood made you know what type of adult you would be?
When I became an adult. I know, I had aspirations. I wanted to go in the Air Force, of course, be an astronaut, a professional athlete just because I was good at football and basketball. But I still didn't know what I wanted to be. I knew what I inspired to be, but every day was an every day. Like, am I going to be here today? So I was like, am I going to live another day? That's how it was. So it was just basically, survive until I moved to Houston at 21. Became an adult. Was like, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. I want to work in the medical field. I want to exceed professionally and have a profession that'll never, no matter what, I'll always have a job no matter what.
Right. Yo, the wisdom in knowing that when you become an adult, don't have to be at 18.
Right.
That wisdom in knowing I was legally an adult, but here I was still getting it together.
Exactly.
A lot of wisdom in knowing.
Houston had closed 7 days a week, right? So even though I had went and got saved at CBD Christian Bible Baptist Church, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I was like, man, y'all got it cracking every day out here. Y'all got after hours, man? Boy, I was active. You don't understand what I was active because it was like being in a candy store and you don't know what you want, but you know you want everything. And then everything like you, you got an accent. I'm like, oh my God. I was like this was. I ain't never getting married. Got babies, man.
Right. So that brings us to your current 3 words. We asked you to describe your current with 3 words, and you said determined, which is inflexible, unwavering, or unfaltering. Self-worth, which is the sense of one's own value or worth as a person. Self-esteem and self-respect. And also an activist, which is an especially active person who is vigorous and an advocate of a cause, especially a political cause. So knowing that's who you are today, who can you say made you who you are today? And it can be a good influence or a bad influence. And you ain't got to say their name, but you can if it's good.
So y'all, it's just one. Y'all just want to pick one. It would be my sister. It'd be my father, Theodore Roosevelt Duke. Hardest working, meat humblest man I ever met in my life. 25 years he was working at a plant that was right across the alley from where we stayed at a warehouse, and they laid him off. He picked up a lawnmower and became a landscaper and had one of the most successful businesses in San Diego. So working hard and no complaining was an absolute in that man's house. And I only seen him take one day off, and that was Sunday when he would go to Mount Zion Baptist Church. Every night I watched this man get on his knees and pray. Now, we wasn't Bible thumpers. He wasn't a Bible book. So he wasn't throwing scriptures and nothing like that at us like that. But he would say stuff that later on we'll find out, oh, that's some scripture. But I watched my father get yelled at because they felt like they didn't cut the grass the way it was supposed to be cut. But really they just weren't paying. So I'll jump out, take flight, and he would snatch me up. Son, you know what I mean? So that was the influence. Because of him, there was Mr. Shaheed, 2nd grade, understanding about our culture, where we come from, not just as slaves, but all the way back from Africa to where we are right now as adventures, Mrs. Brown, Miss Bass, and all, it was all because of my dad. Because as I got older and I was receiving these awards from like San Diego State University, all these people was in my life, and it was like Spring Man, that's what they call my dad. So my dad I called him a walking proverb. He was like Black Jesus. I could be going through something like, Dad, she said this, and I don't know if I want to be here anymore. And I'm just going off my relationship. And he'll say something like, well, son, when it's cold, put on a sweater. But later on, as I meditate on it, I understand what he's saying. So if it was not for him deciding to go to court for me when I'm not really his child, my other 3 siblings was his kids, to get me back, and he fought for me, I wouldn't be around my family today. So he's my biggest inspiration of working hard, understanding value, understanding what it means to take care of your family.
Love that. So what are some of the causes that you advocate for?
Oh, man, of course, the meddling people across the globe, domestic violence, sex trafficking, and us as far as gang banging, the gang banging culture, the cease of murdering each other for no reason, for absolutely no reason. With me and headed by Derek Muhammad, we have the Black Male Summit. Black Male Youth Summit. We normally do 3 times a year, but Corona's here. And then for Father's Day, we do the Black Fathers Encouragement Day, where we say if you a good father, we teach you to be a better father. If you're a great father, if you're a great father, we teach you to be an outstanding father. If you're an outstanding father, we teach the good fathers to be great fathers. Constantly uplifting us. So to me, it don't matter what religion you are. Let's go ahead and break bread and understand and educate youth right here. Because meddling right now for not just 5 years, 10 years, 300 years, we we need to understand what unity really means. I'm not just talking about you got to live in a Black community. I'm talking about just uplifting your own, what's going on in your own home, teaching your kids successfulness. You can be whatever you want to be. At the same time, understanding you still have a unspoken responsibility. Go ahead and talk to that young man. You don't know that young dude on that corner. You have no idea. You saying one thing to him or stopping to talk to him could change his whole dynamic in life. If I didn't see it so many times, I wouldn't believe it.
So what is something that happened that made you notice your own self-worth?
Elders, people, you know what I mean? Where you never really heard the I believe in you, or you got something, or there's something with you. You know, you be like, because Vince, I know you understand me. Say there's a lot of ego in the entertainment. There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of people that can't take criticism. You know, so coming from the environment where I was from, it was easy for us to play the dozen. So you always had to play this guard. But I always was on the outside. Like I would stand off it. I didn't want to speak. You know what I mean? Because I didn't know what would happen. But I had to get taught how to balance. You have something to contribute. And you start hearing it more than once, more than twice. You keep hearing it, and then the people touching hands on you, and they saying you got this, right? So it's like, okay, let me go ahead and do it. That's another thing. You coaching me into it, all right? Okay, I'll go do it. So it was really individuals guiding me in the right direction. I could never take ownership of me saying I did it myself. There'd have been no way.
Right.
So what do you do when you start to feel like you aren't worthy?
Meditate, and I mean a whole lot of meditation. A whole lot of meditation. 420 type of meditation. But and I'm blessed. I'm blessed with an absolute fantastic wife, spouse. That we bounce off each other. So when there's the times when I'm feeling defeated, am I really a good father? You know what I mean? Am I really what people are saying about me? Am I really what my kids are saying? You know, all these things. So again, remember, complaining is a big thing. I don't complain. We're trying not to. Make something happen.
Right.
You know, at them times, my wife, you know, we've been together almost 7 years, so she see my expression, she might say, "Bang, do you want to talk about it?" She a therapist by nature. Get on my nerves sometimes. I'm laying on the couch. Next thing you know, and then, so having someone next to you that encourages your spirit, and then you have that balance, vice versa. That's a blessing. I can say that I know I'm happy that I have. I ain't saying we don't have our issues. I hate people when they be like, "Oh, we super perfect." Use a lot and a half. You know the hell with you. But for the big picture, being that we have this balance, like that's the blessing. So that really helps a lot.
So I know, like we talked about ego coming into play, and sometimes you look at yourself and say, "Am I being egotistical when I say I have self-worth?" Or, "Wow, look at that cat! Like I'm very determined." At what point do you know, like, you're not being egotistical in knowing that you're determined? Like, what is something that happened that you've done that made you say, "Dang, like let me pat myself on the back, like I'm determined to make it happen"?
I think it was a June 10th, one of those June 10th, the so-called Texas Slam in Texas City. But it's June 10th for me, so this month is July. So I go out there and I do this poem, one of my signature pieces called Soul Power, right? And I win a trophy from it. You know, I got second place. I think I tied with somebody. I got second place trophy. That was the first time I ever got a trophy outside of sports, right? So, you know, everybody like it's like, oh, okay, maybe I am pretty dope. You know, people, you know, and then you're getting paid features, you're getting asked to do this, so now I'm getting currency from something I was just doing just to get off my chest. Right. So that becomes back on the balance. Hey, catch yourself. Because now just because you're getting in these magazines and you're getting on these radio shows, catch yourself. So that goes back to my dad. I'll say, "Dad, guess what, man? I'm on a documentary and they doing this. He'd be like, good, that's cool. Where my babies at? You know, like, so, that little kid, my dad got my book, and that was the first time I ever seen this man cry. You know, because you know what he told me, y'all? He says, I never thought I would see my name in nothing else but an obituary.
Oh.
Right. So I know every time I start feeling like, let's put a quote. Nelson Mandela has the best quote. Don't dim your light because everybody don't want to see you shine. Right? Right? So again, I'm big on quotes. So it's those words. Remember we was talking earlier. You got to be able to get poured on. You got to be able to see. So I was noticing that I would put other people close to me. I would share everybody else. I might not get my share. And I've heard, and you know what I mean, people say this on the thing, and it's like, man, people are saying congratulations, but they're really competing with you. I'm like, what? I don't understand. I don't understand what you mean competing, or there's beef. What do you mean, man? I know what real beef is. You know what I mean? I know what real competition is. Like, I'm not getting on here to this. Okay, but I'm getting this. Congratulations. So now do I start turning and believing that everybody that's embracing me is full of it, or is it real? That's a choice. So two things I always ask for: wisdom and discernment. I just give me wisdom and discernment. That's all I want. So I had my Baba. He called me over. Because after I had my, you know, he was the transplant. He asked me to take off my shirt. You know, he does a reading and all that. You know, I'm big. I'm spiritual, so like that. So I can take from everything, y'all. Listen to it. So he says, son, there are people in your circle that are jealous of you. You would never believe was jealous. I'm not doing nothing to be jealous about, right? I don't brag, I don't talk, and I make that a habit. I teach it to my children. You know what I mean? Yeah, you guys are great and excelling, but don't be braggadocious, right? But then it goes back to after that came out, then you know the movie, and then you know the awards, the interviews. I start seeing people that was like, hey, when they was here, and now I start kind of gravitating with them, and all of a sudden it starts separating. I couldn't understand why. Then it went back in my head. I said, okay, so this is what it is. This is what it is. Okay, so do I stop or do I keep excelling? Well, what God got for you, nobody can take from you, right? So even when I would try to stop, it would get pushed. I would get called for another audition to do a movie or get asked to do this and I don't have nobody's agent, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna let go and let the possibilities lift me up. I saw that quote from Nelson Mandela about your light. You know what I mean? And stop dimming your light because what such and such or what somebody gonna say. Remember that saying back in the day? I know my grandma used to say, you know, if I had a nigga for people that would talk about me good or bad, I'll be rich. So why am I worried about what somebody saying behind closed doors in the shadows? Because 9 times out of 10, you ain't gonna say it in my face. Right?
Right.
So keep it pushing. And even if you say, man, I can't stand his book, or I don't hate that poem, or that is garbage. That's 1 out of 7.7 billion people on the planet. You may not like Kendrick Lamar. I love Kendrick Lamar to death, but you might be like, that's the worst rapper on the planet. But to somebody, he is the greatest thing that ever happened. That's how I look at life.
Right. So what sacrifices have you made to live in your truth?
Woo! I did the oath, huh? I stopped selling pharmaceuticals and started learning how to invest. Right? I started focusing more on the positive than the negative. I started focusing more on positive energy than negative energy. Right. And when I started doing that, I noticed that the what you attract will be people of like mind. You know, Bluez, we've been knowing each other portion for a minute, but look what happened, right? I saw Courtney Elaine. Courtney Elaine. I keep saying that. Courtney Elaine with when we did Tony Hickman's joint. That was like 2014. Look where we're at right now. Every last one of us is doing something projecting while helping other people.
Right.
Every last one of us have just told, we said the word earlier, you know what I mean, about far friendship, letting go of certain individuals, so therefore your sword can block. Now look where you at today, man.
Right. So describe a moment that you feel like you failed terribly.
Not going home enough, seeing my mom's. That plays my mind a lot lately. You know, like you know, there was sometimes years I wouldn't go home. You know, and then I just started going back, especially after she had got sick. You know, that's one of the things. Like, I wonder if I'd have stayed home with this. You know, would my mom still be here? You know, I don't have the answer to it, but I know that's one of the things that I know. I feel like I failed not being enough in her life at this moment in time. At that moment in time.
Right. But sometimes we get to, you know what I'm saying, we gotta understand we get to live in our lives too. And, you know, things get, you know, start happening. And a lot of times our loved ones really understand that. They understand, you know, he got to take care of this and he got to take care of that. And the ways that you were there for her, she appreciates, you know?
That's confirmation, because that's exactly what my siblings said when I couldn't go home when they stopped the flight, you know, out to the hospital. So that's why I think right now that's really bothering me, because it's still fresh. What I can say the failure, because that's what's prevalent in my mind. I'm pretty sure I know I got a whole lot of failures. A whole lot. But I think right now it's like, man, that's one of the things that I know sit in my gala.
Yeah. So how do you deal with or internalize others people's perception of your truth?
Oh, I can care.
That's funny.
I can care less. There's only one person in this house that I gotta worry about making sure she's okay. And everybody else, if you don't like me, like, you know how we used to, you know, like, why such and such? You know what I mean? I done went through the dark, you know, booty strap action, the bow leggings, and this, you know, I done went through all that. So you built tough skin. Mary J. Blige, I heard a quote from her not too long ago. She goes, I done been bullied. I done had people talk about me, and I had people talk about me good, bad. I had people hate me for no reason. I had people hate me because I give them, you know, she's just going through all this stuff. She said, you build tough skin, especially when you're going up here. So I can care less at 41 what you think about me. If I ain't harming nobody, I ain't pulling no strap, I ain't killing nobody. You know what I mean? So, you know, we got to make, as long as my wife and my girls is good, I'm good.
Right. So what steps will you take to remain consistent in your truth?
Oh, consistently being consistent.
Mm.
You know, consistently being consistent. You know, catch yourself when you know you falling. If you fall, get back up and be mindful of the people that really matter to you. You gotta be mindful, because your mirror don't talk to you. But the people that know you, yeah. yeah. If that thing start talking to you hitting some ooh-wee, man. But really value and the opinions of the circle you have built around you. So when you start slipping, you'll know you're slipping, because they're there for you. They're the elders that helped Moses lift up his staff when he was up there for days and months. You know what I mean? Have that type of circle. Keep wisdom and discernment right here in the front of your earlobe. Right in your earlobe.
So what would your current self tell your childhood self?
Bro, don't do her. Don't mess with him. Don't go around that corner. Nah. Truthfully, it'll be listen to those that are speaking to you. You know what I mean? Listen to those elders that are speaking to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'd have told young Vince, man, wrong road. What on the wrong way, brother. That they do not enter. Okay.
Hey, what's another one? Hey, do not have sex early.
Okay,
You'll
well,
go
see,
from an A student to a D student.
I'm an angel. I ain't never had sex. So,
This,
is there something that we could have asked you that we didn't?
man, you got pretty much hit the ball, man. You know, yeah, I knocked that out the park.
Cool.
I feel like I should have been laying on the couch.
Well, we want to thank you. It was a pleasure having you come on the Birth and Truth podcast and spill your truth. We want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to give your social media information.
Okay. But before I do that, you guys, I absolutely love. I pray much success in what you guys are doing. That it touch not just the nation but the world, because you guys are y'all dynamic duo is awesome on here. So I pray much success in your podcast and what you guys are doing, your webinars. As far as me, you can find me on Facebook at Yolan, a Poet's Poet, and on Instagram, a Poet's Poet. You can also find the book, The Unknown Child Named Yolan. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey. Also on my social media on Facebook, Yolan, a Poet's Poet. You can just hit the link and see and get to the part where you can buy the book and how to purchase the book. You can also find it on Amazon and on Kindle. You know, Yolan the Unknown. Yolan, a Poet's Poet. You can find that book on there, The Unknown Child Named Yolan, a Poet's Poet. And you can also see me on IDMB, Future Coming Up here documentary, where you can see some of the movies and the bio of what I've been doing and what's going on.
All right. Well, we want to thank our audience for watching. We want to shout out Still Visionary Inc. That's the company that produces this. Shout out to JR. And we are Birth and Truth Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And on Twitter, we are at Birthing Truth.
If you'd like to be a guest on the Birth and Truth podcast, email us at birthandtruthpodcast@gmail.com.
Where do people can find you at, Courtney?
I am at the Courtney Elaine brand on Instagram, Facebook, and the C brand on Twitter.
And if you type in Black Bluez on anything, I will pop up. It's BLACKBLUEZ. One word, but I will pop up even if that ain't my name on there. So I want y'all to stay tuned for episode 6. Last time I said the wrong episode. So this time we're right. Stay tuned for episode 6. Peace.
Peace.